cracking, gang? It's T Nasty, and I'm back with another banger for you guys. So UFC 309 is this weekend, and I was talking hella shit on the card for a while, but as we have gotten closer, I'm low-key looking forward to it. I mean, we got my boy Mauricio Ruffy from the Fighting Nerds, we got Jim fucking Miller, we got Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, which of course is a pointless rematch. Fucking classic UFC matchmakers, but it will be definitely entertaining for as long as it lasts. And then Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones is obviously a stupid-ass fight to be for the world title. But it is a legacy fight, and I cannot wait to see Stipe KO that fraud. But we will get to that later. As per usual, I will be joined by my boys here in a moment for our UFC 309 Fantasy Draft, where the T Nasty MMA Championship will be back up for grabs once again. And then I will be back at the end to give you guys my 100% accurate genius picks. And I have a special surprise for you guys at the very end, so stick around if you enjoy free money. But with all that being said, I'm going to make a quick cut and hop in a call with the boys. I'll be right back. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the UFC 309 draft. I'm your host, as always, T Nasty. I got my boys with me. I got Brendo back for his third shot at the belt. What's going on?
Yo, I'm really hoping to bring it in. Third tries the charm, but we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, let's hope. And then we got my boy Huncho Mint, aka Adam, back at it again.
Looking for some redemption after my Chris Barnett blunder.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then once again, we got the big loser from last time. We got my boy Jared.
Yeah, Jared brought the clown no more. I'm ready to get it done this time.
Yeah, back for redemption. So for those of you who are not aware of how this works, with this draft, we're going to be going in a snake draft, picking fighters from the UFC 309 card until we each have a team of 7 fighters. And then once the fights go down, if your fighter wins, you get points. If your fighter loses, you lose points. And +2 for finish, +1 for decision, and then -1 or 2 for finish or decision. And then first round finish gets you double points. We got Jared, Adam, and Brendo back for their next shots at the belt. Jared was a loser last time. Brendo's 0-2. I'm 2-0. I'm going to put our records up on the screen now. Before we get down to this draft, boys, is there anything different we're going with this time? Any different strategy? Jared, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, last time I went into it thinking, who do I think is just going to get the win? Who's safe? But this time, really took into account if the same rules apply, the knockouts and submissions. We know that the fight before Jon Jones, Mr. Oliveira, is a submission king, the king of submissions. So taking a lot of those more into account, and hopefully that gets the job done.
Yes, sir. Brendo, what's your difference in strategy this time?
They say if you continue doing the same thing over and over, hoping for something different, you might be insane. So I switched it up this time and decided to do even less research in hopes to perform better. The first time I looked at the card was about 32 minutes ago. So we're grinding with this one.
That's perfect. Adam, I know you're the king of research and strategization. So what's your strategy going into this one?
I'm picking purely based off vibes. Vibe picks only.
Let's go. All right. Well, with all that being said, we're about to get right down to it. I'm going to randomize the draft order right now. And so the draft order is going to be first, Huncho Mint, second, Brendo, third, yours truly, T Nasty, and then in last will be Jared, getting 2 picks in a row. All right, boys. Are we ready to get down to it?
Absolutely.
Let's roll.
All right. Huncho Mint, you're first up. Who you got?
I usually hate this guy, but for the memes, for the vibes, I think I gotta pick Johnny Bones Jones.
Let's go.
Dana's #1 glazed fighter.
Mad respect. I mean, you got to take Jon Jones first overall. Totally understandable. He's probably going to get the finish, so.
Let's hope.
All right. Brendo, you're next up. Who you got?
Yeah, I guess I'll pick. I'm going between either Bo Nickal or Mauricio Ruffy, but I don't know which one I want to go with.
I think you should go Bo Nickal for sure.
Yeah, I guess I'll go Bo Nickal. I don't know. I feel weird with Paul Craig though, because he's not unknown to get an upset finish on somebody.
Yeah, he's a known fraud checker. But I think Bo Nickal has a good chance of getting a finish, so I respect that pick. And I'm up next, and I appreciate you taking Bo Nickal. As you guys can see, I got the Fighting Nerds glasses on, so I want to take Mauricio Ruffy. That's strategy right there.
That is strategy.
Fighting nerds. I think he's gonna get a finish. James Yon Top is a dead man walking, in my opinion. But so that's my pick. I'm taking Mauricio Ruffy first round. Jared, you're up next. Who you got?
Like I said before, the strategy is to take into account more, knockout submissions, and we got to go with the king, submission king himself, Charles. He gets it done for sure. This fight against Chandler was a good one, but Charles stays poised, he gets it done.
Yeah, mad respect. Mad respect. I mean, he literally has the most finishes in the UFC, so you can't go wrong with that pick there. But you get 2 back-to-back, so who you got next?
Yeah, help me with last names here, but David Oama, 9 career knockouts. I think that, Romero's going to struggle in regards to striking. I think Oama is just a force, and it's really going to give me major points here in the beginning.
Yeah, I like that pick. David Onama is a good fighter, and he's going up against Alberto Del Rio's personal ring announcer, a relatively unknown fighter, so that's a good pick for sure. All right, it's back up to me. And, I really wanted Bo Nickal on my team as well. I think he's getting the finish, but unfortunately he's been taken. So the next pick I had down, I'm going with my boy Jake Paul. All right. If y'all didn't notice from the draft board already, we got Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in here. They're fighting this Friday. We had to add 2 more to make it an even number, so I'm taking Jake Paul. I'm not sure he's going to get the finish. I was saying yesterday I think he's going to knock him out, but with the 14-ounce gloves and the short rounds, I don't know. But either way, I think he's going to murk Mike Tyson. No offense to the GOAT, but I just don't think it's going to end well for him. So I'm taking Jake Paul as my next pick. Brendo, you're back up. Who you got?
Next pick, I'll go with Marcin Tybura.
Yeah, no way.
Yes, sir. It's my boy. I'm a big fan.
Marcin Tybura, he's a great fighter. I'd love to fight him. Where's he at here? There he is. I think he's gonna get a finish. I'm gonna do my picks later, but my official pick is him by finish, so I respect that pick. All right, Huncho Mint, you're back up with 2 picks. Who you got?
You can't pick off vibes and not take the Welsh gangster. Give me the man out of Wales, Oban Elliott.
Let's go. I love that pick. I like Oban Elliott a lot. He's my boy. I think he's gonna win as well, so I like that. Who's your second pick?
With my second pick, I'm gonna give us our first head-to-head. Give me Mike Tyson.
No, let's go. I love that for you. Listen, Mike could always get the KO, man. I mean, he's one of the most prolific knockout artists in the history of fighting, so there's nothing wrong with that pick. Brendo, you're back up. Who you got next?
Based off vibes, I'll go with a mint strategy here. It might lose me some points. We're gonna pick Jim Miller, the beast.
You sniped me,
He's a
bro.
monster. He's a
Jim
monster.
fucking Miller, that's my boy. He's another guy with some of the most finishes in UFC history, so I don't think that's a bad pick. And Damon Jackson is a freaking bum. He needs to get his freaking hairline fixed, but I respect that pick. All right, back up to me once again. For my next pick, I'm going with one of my favorite rising prospects in the UFC. I'm going with my boy Trippy Red, aka Marcus McGee. I think he's going to pick up the win over J Mart, so I'm taking Marcus McGee next. Jared, you're back up with 2 more picks. Who you got next?
All right, let's go Eric Anders. I think he's pretty known for knocking out his guys early. I think this might be a first round knockout. Hopefully we can get a lot of points there. And then Vivian Araújo.
Okay.
Good striking, good grappling. First woman on my team, and I think is going to get me some points.
Yeah, I respect it. I think she's a good fighter, pretty well-rounded. I like Eric Anders as a pick too. You guys know Chris Weidman's one of my least favorite fighters. Not a big fan of him, but if you guys weren't aware, they are going to be wearing the old UFC gloves, so eye pokes might come into play. Chris Weidman's one of the most well-known eye pokers in the game, so hopefully he doesn't poke Eric. But all right, back up to me. And, based off that pick you just made there, I think I'm going to go head-to-head right against you, Jared. I'm going to take my girl, Karine Silva. Personally, I think she's going to get a dominant win here. I think she has a very well-rounded game, nasty striking, nasty ground and pound. So I think she's going to get a dominant decision. Maybe a finish. Yeah, that's my next pick is Karini Silva. All right, Brendo, you're back up. Who you got once again?
Take my girl Veronica Hardy. First fight of the night.
Yeah,
Hopefully get it started off right.
I like that pick. She's one of the few women's MMA fighters who is actually like super technical and like seems like she actually wants to win. So I like that pick. I think she's good. I think she's gonna get the win myself. So I respect it. All right, Huncho Mint, you're back up. 2 more picks. Who you got?
I'm gonna pick this guy. I don't 100% know if he's gonna win, but it's just a base pick. Give me Michael Chandler.
Michael Chandler. I like it. Another head-to-head. You versus Jared.
He's got power.
He's a bit of a juice
And
head.
a little bit.
All right,
For
you get
my
2 picks. Who's next?
second pick, just throw me Mickey Gall.
Mickey Gall.
Ramiz Brahimaj is not giving me good vibes, so I gotta go against him.
Yeah, that guy's fucked. I like that. You know, I'm not a big fan of Mickey Gall. He is a good fighter, but he smashed my boy CM Punk, and I'll never be able to forgive him for that. But that is a good pick. I like that. I think he's gonna get the win. So, Brendo, you're up next with another pick. Who you got?
I'll go with my boy. I'll go with Weidman. No one took Weidman yet, have they?
No, yeah.
Hey, we've gotten past everyone I think was possibly gonna win.
Yeah, we're getting to the scraps here. Except for there's one guy who I think is gonna win, and he's definitely gonna be my next pick. But I like Chris Weidman. I think he's gonna win this fight personally. I think he's gonna use his wrestling and put on a very boring decision win. But I like that pick. So for my next pick, I'm taking the GOAT of heavyweight, Stipe Miocic. Okay, I'm gonna go over my picks later for you guys, but I believe in Stipe, and you guys know I hate John Jones, and I cannot pick him on my team because he's a horrible person. And I think Stipe is gonna knock him out with a head kick, Mirko Crow Cop style. He's wearing the Crow Cop shorts, so that's my next pick, Stipe Miocic. Jared, you're back up again with 2 more picks. Who you got?
Let's go Jonathan Martinez. I think of all the people left on this list, he's one that I think for sure gets a win here. Second one, we'll go Damon Jackson. I think he'll win, but I don't think it'll, be double points with the knockout or submission. I think it'll be a decision, but those are my next 2.
Yeah. He's a good wrestler. I like that pick. Jonathan Martinez, I think, is going to put up a close fight against Marcus McGee. I know I picked him, but I think it's going to be a good fight, and he has a chance to win for sure. I mean, he has nasty leg kicks, and he's a good striker, so I like those picks. All right, back up to me once again. I'm looking at this board here. Not the best picks, but I think I'm going to go head-to-head with Brendo with my next pick, and I'm going to pick my boy, Paul Craig. He's absolutely test-maxing Giga Chad. One of the best fraud checkers in the UFC. I think he might fraud check Bot Nickal. My official pick is Bo by KO, but you never know with Paul Craig, especially with Bo being a wrestler. He might get the submission, so taking Paul Craig. But Brendo, you're back up once again. Who you got next?
Guess we'll take my boy Ramiz. Hopefully beating Mickey Gall's bitch ass.
For Miss Brahima, come on.
Fuck Mickey Gall for beating CM Punk.
Yeah, I respect that. All right, Huncho Mint, your last 2 picks. Who do you have?
This is about the time of the draft where I don't know any of the fighters left on the board. So I'm just gonna throw a Hail Mary, and I'm gonna go with Yonata Denise.
Let's
head to head
go.
against Marcin.
You sniped me. That was my next pick. I like Denise.
Yeah.
He's a good boxer. I think he has a chance. All right, one more pick. Who's your last fighter?
I guess throw me Eduarda Moura,
All right,
Brazilian fighter.
going up against Brendo with that one.
That's 2 Brazilians I just took.
Yes, sir. I like the Brazilian vibes in your team. All right, Brendo, you got one last pick. Basil Hafez, James Yontop, and Roberto Romero. Who you got?
We'll go with my boy Roberto Romero. Relatively unknown, but he's gonna come in and make a name for himself here. Can feel it happening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, that leaves 2 more, and I guess I got to go with Basil Hafez because I already have Mauricio Ruffy. So, Basil, not feeling too confident in him because I love Oban Elliott, but he could get the win. He's a wrestler, so you never know. And that leaves Jared with James on top. I'm sorry, man. He's a dead man walking, to be honest, but you never know. You never know. All right. Well, that is the draft, boys. We got my team with Mauricio Ruffy, Jake Paul, Marcus McGee, Karini Silva, Stipe Miocic, Paul Craig, and Basil Hafez. We got Brendo's team with Bot Nickal, Marcin Tybura, Jim fucking Miller, Veronica Hardy, Chris Weidman, Ramiz Brahimai, and Roberto Romero. We got Huncho Mint's team with John Jones, Oban Elliott, Mike Tyson, Mike Chandler, Mickey Gall, Janata Denise, and Eduardo Maura. And then we got Jared's team with Charles Oliveira, David Onama, Eric Anders, Viviani Arujo, Jonathan Martinez, Damon Jackson, and James Yontop. These are some good-looking teams, boys. Who's feeling the most confident? Jared, what's your confidence levels going into this one? Or how do you think you're going to get the redemption or no?
I think my, first four, maybe five picks are strong. My last two are, not at all. But I think instead of picking people who are going to win, I pick people with, specialties, and Oliveira with some missing, and, Onama with striking. I think they're, and the way that this point system's set up and the way that this draft goes, I think I'm getting it done.
That's what I like to hear. Brendo, this is your third shot at the belt. Is this the time you get it done?
If not, I know I might have to hang up the gloves, but I don't know. I don't know if I can show my face again if I go 0 for 3.
Yeah, well, at least you never lost any of them, though.
That is true. I haven't lost yet. I've just been right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah. But hey, I like your team. You sniped a couple of my picks here, so I respect it.
Yes, sir. We're hoping to come in there strong, get a couple knockouts, and then just fucking beat everybody else.
Yes,
Hope
sir.
everybody else gets knocked out.
Yes, sir. And Adam, I know you don't have Jeff Neal on your team this time, but what are your confidence levels?
I think the pick I'm actually least confident about is Michael Chandler, because I am a Do Bronx enjoyer, but Michael Chandler is just a savage, so he might get it done. Who knows? And then I don't know those two Brazilian fighters, so.
Yeah, I mean, I picked against both of them. Honestly, I picked against a lot of guys in your team. I'm gonna keep it 100, but you never know with MMA, so I think you have a chance, Adam. But all right, well, thanks for doing this, guys. Make sure to tune in Sunday. We'll be back for the recap show where we will be crowning the new T Nasty MMA champion. I'm the defending champ, 2-0, but my confidence levels aren't too high. I got a few of my good picks. I got Jake and I got Mauricio. I got Marcus McGee, but the rest of these guys, I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks again, guys. We'll see you guys Sunday. And enjoy the violence. I hope you guys enjoyed that draft once again. Make sure to tune in Sunday for the recap video to see who will be the new T Nasty MMA champion, as well as who will be the big loser. If you want to be involved in a future draft, just hit me up and we can get you a title shot. Now it's time for me to display my 100% accurate, mystical fight picking abilities. Make sure to pay very close attention, because as always, you can parlay the opposite of every pick for free money. Starting off the card on the prelims, we have Veronica Hardy versus Eduardo Maura. Now, I'm going to keep it 100, gang. I don't think anyone gives a fuck about this fight. I mean, WMMA in general is trash, but I barely even know who either of these girls are. From what I do know, Eduardo Maura is just big, and Veronica Hardy is the one who's actually a decent fighter. I'm not going to overthink this one. Hardy actually has good technique and takes her career seriously, so I'm going to pick Veronica Hardy by decision. Next up, we have Basil Hafez versus my boy Oban, the Welsh gangster Elliott. I think this could be fight of the night. Oban comes to scrap every time, and Basil tends to put on exciting fights as well. I think Basil will try to wrestle, so if Oban can't stop the takedowns, it might be a rough night for him. But I feel like he will be able to keep it on the feet and make it into a war. I'm going to pick Oban Elliott by decision as well. And after that is Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Brahimai. I don't know why Ramiz is even still in the UFC. He's fucking garbage. Mickey Gall really isn't UFC caliber either, but he actually comes to fight. I think this will be exciting on the feet, and eventually Mickey will tire him out, drag him to the ground, and choke him out. I'm picking Mickey Gall by round 2 submission. Lastly, on the early prelims, we got Marcin Tybura. He's a great fighter. I love to fight him. Versus Janata Denise. Denise was supposed to fight Derek Lewis a few weeks ago in Canada, but fucking Derek pulled out on the fight the day of. Now Denise draws Tybura on short notice. I do think Denise has decent boxing, and he will touch up Tybura in round 1. but I think Tybura has the better gas tank and will get the finish in round 2 or 3. I'm going to end up picking Marcin Tybura round 3 ground and pound TKO. Moving on, we have Roberto Romero versus David Onama. Now, there was some uncertainty with this fight up until yesterday. Onama was supposed to fight Lucas Almeida, and then they didn't have a replacement for a while, but they got a relatively unknown fighter in Roberto Romero. I had to do some research. I genuinely have never heard of this guy before. I thought he was Alberto Del Rio's personal ring announcer at first, but he seems to be somewhat well-rounded, just not very experienced, only has like 8 fights. Onama is a really good boxer and has decent grappling as well, so I see him coasting to a decision win in this one. David Onama by decision. Next up, we have Jim fucking Miller versus Damon Jackson. 2 old heads going at it in this one. Damon Jackson is a bum. I'm just going to keep it 100. He's going to be spamming takedowns this whole fight, and Jim is going to defend and piece him the fuck up. I think Jim will be able to put on a pace and eventually finish him due to exhaustion. I'm picking Jim fucking Miller by round 3 TKO. After that is Chris eye-poking fraudulent legacy Weidman versus Eric Anders. Most of y'all know I'm a Chris Weidman hater. Not excited to watch him fight, but hopefully he loses so I can add it to my hate watch list. In all seriousness though, I think Eric will have the advantage on the feet, but I see Weidman getting takedowns on him and holding him down after a few eye pokes. I hate to say it, but I'm picking Chris Weidman by decision. And then finally, to close out the prelims, we have Jonathan Martinez versus Trippie Redd, aka Marcus McGee. This is one of my favorite fights on the card. I think this one will compete with Hafez versus Elliott for fight of the night, at least if it doesn't end early. Both guys are very dangerous strikers. Martinez is more established in the UFC, and McGee is more of a newcomer. I see Martinez using his trademark leg kicks and doing a lot of damage with those, but McGee will land the bigger and more powerful shots. I think this one will go to decision because both guys are pretty tough, but I could see Martinez maybe getting finished because he seems to have a lot of stuff going on. He recently left Factory X and has started his own gym, which is just a lot of stuff to take on. But ultimately, I'm picking Marcus McGee by decision. Now, for the main card, kicking things off, we got my fucking boy Mauricio Ruffy versus James Yontop. I've fallen in love with the fighting nerds over the past few months. All of those guys are some of my new favorites. Mauricio especially has an insane striking style. He's always in his flow state, very reminiscent of early featherweight Conor McGregor. James Yontop is no slouch either though. He is a decent striker and he comes to scrap, so he isn't going to go down without a fight. Ultimately though, I have to stick with my boy. I think he's going to go out and put on a show, especially with it being short notice for Yontop. I think he's going in there to get finished. I see Mauricio picking James apart and really starting to go crazy at the end of round 1. And then I think Yontop will survive to round 2, but get dropped very early in that round and finished. I'm picking Mauricio Ruffy by early round 2 submission. Then we have this abomination of a fight between Viviana Araujo and Karine Silva. I don't know what Dana's hard on for Araujo is. She must be one of the ladies he's banging. But regardless, WMMA is so garbage. It has no business being on a pay-per-view main card, especially the MSG card. But it is what it is, and we have to accept it. It actually is a decent fight for the division. The winner will probably be 1-2 fights away from the title. Araujo is well-rounded with a solid MMA game, and Silva is just like a straight-up killer. You don't see very many women with nasty striking like she has, and her ground game is pretty dominant as well. This fight is definitely going to a decision. I mean, it's WMMA, come on. But I see Karine Silva dominating, potentially even getting a 10-8 round. I'm going to pick Karine Silva by decision. Then in the feature fight, we have Bot Nickal versus Paul Craig. I actually do fuck with this matchup as we get to see someone with a good ground game against Bo. We need to quit acting like he's some big star though. I mean, he struggled with Jamie Pickett and Cody Bruntich. But ultimately, I think Bo is going to knock Craig the fuck out. I think it goes to the ground at least once pretty early, but Paul will use his dangerous skills off his back to threaten Bo and make him stand up. And Paul Craig's striking is just fucking garbage, like literally Ben Askren levels. And Bo is actually kind of like that on the feet. He has really good power and goofy boxing, but it works. But yeah, Bo Nickal, round 1 KO is the official pick. Then in the co-main event, we have Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira 2. Like I said in the intro, this fight is a pointless rematch, but it is definitely going to be entertaining as hell. Both guys are never in a boring fight. I see this going similar to their first fight, but I think Chandler will do a lot better in this one. I think he will touch Charles on the feet and hurt him multiple times. Charles will be losing this fight and then pull off the Hail Mary submission in round 3, mark my words. Chandler is going to be hungry to prove he still has it after the long layoff and the Conor shenanigans, but he is looking past Oliveira, and we all know that never works out in someone's favor. The official pick is Charles Oliveira, round 3 submission. Then last but not least, the least anticipated super fight of all time, Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Everybody's acting like Stipe has no chance, but I think you guys are tripping. I think this goes a lot like the first Gustafsson fight. Jon always has struggled against guys who aren't 6 inches shorter than him, and we all know his boxing is his weakness, and Stipe will be able to take advantage of both of those things. These people forget that Stipe is one of the most skilled heavyweights ever. People forget, man. I think John will be able to implement his single strike high variance game plan he always does. He also, of course, will be employing his highly effective eye poke techniques with those OG gloves. He's looking a little lighter this time around, so I don't think he will try and wrestle that much with Stipe, but ultimately I see Stipe landing on John and hurting him. Obviously, I'm hella biased as one of John's biggest haters, but I truly believe in Stipe, and this is the last chance for some justice to be dealt to the steroid cheating, domestic abusing, dirty fighting, closeted homosexual convict John Jones. And not to mention, Stipe will be wearing the Crow Cop shorts, so his head kicks will be supercharged. The official pick is Stipe Miocic by round 3 head kick KO, shocking the world. So those are my official picks for every fight on UFC 309. As I said before, make sure to parlay the opposite of each pick if you want to print some money. You guys know the drill by now. Now as for some predictions for the card in general, fight of the night, I'm going with Hafez vs. Elliott. I think that will be a banger. Performance of the night will end up going to Mauricio Ruffy and Nickal for some epic finishes. I also see there being at least 10 eye pokes on this card. They're using the OG glove design, which as we all know makes it much more likely for it to be eye pokes. And we also have 3 of the most prolific eye pokers of all time with Weidman, Stipe, and John Jones all fighting. I also am predicting at least 3 retirements on this card. John Jones and Stipe double retirement is basically a lock, but we also have a chance for Chandler if he loses, Jim Miller, Damon Jackson, Chris Weidman, and Eric Anders, honestly. I could see any of these guys retiring on a loss, and some of them even on a win. And then lastly, as per usual, every New Yorker wins or most of them lose. This one is always a lock with these regional shows. And now for the surprise I told you guys about, I'm going to run through my prediction for the Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson fight that is going down on Friday night. Isn't it crazy that Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson is only the second most fraudulent fight this weekend? But for real though, before I start, I just want to say this is a fucking travesty of a fight. The Texas Athletic Commission should be ashamed of themselves for sanctioning this shit. This is a 58-year-old man versus a 27-year-old killer. People love to hate on Jake, but he ain't no slouch anymore. He is a legit skilled boxer and he has serious knockout power. But as for the analysis, I mean, Mike does look decent on the pads, but as we all know, pads no hit back. This man Mike Tyson looked old and slow 4 fucking years ago when he fought Roy Jones, and we expect him to look good all of a sudden? I think when we get to the fight, Mike will land shots in round 1 and possibly even hurt Jake a time or two. But I see Jake just taking over as the fight goes on, wearing on Mike, gassing him out, and starting to piece him up. Originally, I wanted to say Jake by round 3 KO, but when I heard that it's only 2-minute rounds and 14-ounce gloves, it made me change my mind. Boxing is traditionally fought with a 3-minute rounds and 8 to 10-ounce gloves for a reason. That's why people spar with heavy gloves, because it is way more difficult to knock someone out. There is more padding to protect the brain, and they are just bigger, which makes it easier to block and harder to land clean. Neither of these guys are going to knock each other out, but regardless, I think Jake is going to fuck Mike up. I don't think he will KO him for those reasons, but he definitely could. Mike will gas out within 3 rounds, and Jake will make him look silly. Honestly, don't even know if they will announce a winner without a knockout, but if they do, Jake will take a dominant decision win. Alright gang, I know this one has been pretty long, so let me get a zam down in the comments if you're still here, and let me know who you got in the main event and the Paul Tyson fight. Don't forget to parlay the opposite of all my picks for free money, and to come back Sunday for the recap show where I will give my instant reactions, draft results, and my fights to make after UFC 309. This prediction vid is way different from anyone else on YouTube, so if you enjoyed, let me know by hitting the like button, dropping a comment, subscribing, sharing this shit on Facebook, hitting the notification bell, becoming a member, and then creating a second account and repeating those steps for me. As always, if you do not do those things, you are a casual, respectfully. Alright, Test Maxers, I'm out. Take it easy, gang.